Shine so bright into our lives. We love you forever and ever till the end. We celebrate you, Maria Montessori. We celebrate you, Maria Montessori. We celebrate your life was a shining path into our lives. Your passion for education has brought more light to the world, to all the children around the world. We love you, yes we do. You said if upon salvation and to come, they can only come from the children, for the children are the makers of men. These are your words. We celebrate you, Maria Montessori. We celebrate you, Maria Montessori. We celebrate you.
An extraordinary woman. Embraced in the 21st century, Montessori for a better world for all.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like a light, you shine so bright into our lives. We love you forever and ever till the end. We celebrate you, Maria Montessori. We celebrate you, Maria Montessori. We celebrate your life was a shining path into our lives. Your passion for education has brought more light to the world, to all the children.
Hello everyone and welcome to our Connect session for September. This is the third in the series for 2021. You are joining us from Montessori Everywhere, and for those of you who are new to Montessori Everywhere, it's an initiative that started to celebrate Dr. Montessori's 150th birthday, and there were over 6,000 of us from all over the world joined together, and we just found that it was so lovely to get to connect with an international Montessori friends and family, and we wanted to connect and challenge and celebrate. So that's what the meaning of Montessori Everywhere is, and we're really glad that you can join us today. My name's Simone Davis and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm delighted to be coming to you with Hannah as our guide today. We've got more Montessori Everywhere team members, Barbara and Anna and Heital and Samina, who are also in Peru. So we've got more team members than we have participants right now, but people will maybe jump on during the call, and we're just really excited you can be here. And the session usually goes for an hour and a half, so it depends just how the conversation goes. We will see if people are kind of just back from summer and warming up, or if we've got lots to say. So we'll see how it goes. In the session today, we'll get a beautiful introduction from Hannah on our topic, which is the role of the adult. And I'm not sure if any of you had a chance to rewatch the panel discussion from the 150th birthday celebrations, but that's the jumping off point for the discussion. Then we go into some breakout rooms. That's when you actually get to do the talking. So the breakout rooms are for 40 minutes. And that's a beautiful place we have facilitators in the rooms to help make sure that everyone gets to have an opportunity to share, and we learn from each other and we get into a deep dialogue. And then we'll come back from the breakout rooms and share our learnings, anything that we want to say. And then we will have a reflection from Hannah at the end and close. So I want to just start the session today with a land acknowledgement. I am calling in from the Netherlands, and they have a past of perpetrating settler colonization, and I benefit from the wealth accrued by this land. I also grew up on the lands of the Camaragal people, and they were the traditional landowners and a clan of the Eora tribe of Indigenous Australians who were united by a common language, strong ties of kinship, and they survived as skilled hunter, fisher, gatherers. And I benefited from the beautiful nature and resources of that land that they occupied before us. So if you do know where you're calling in from, the Indigenous folks who were on the land, then please drop it in the chat. I think it's always important to acknowledge that we are on someone else's land. Okay, also a big thank you to those of you who could redistribute funds to the Black Montessori Education Fund. We are very passionate about making Montessori accessible and equitable for all. And we've been delighted to be able to have the Black Montessori Education Fund doing beautiful work and being able to support that work with the fundraising efforts that we put together. So now I would hand over to the tech for the housekeeping for today's session. And we don't have our wonderful Wendelin as tech today, and you have me. So I'm going to now move into the tech part as well. I wanted to just say that, can you keep your microphones muted when we're in the main session, but then when we go into the breakout rooms, cameras on and unmute yourselves, because that's when it really, we're just creating a space for you and you'll get the most out of it. Even if people can just see your face. I know that some people will have family and things in the background, so mute yourself, unmute as you can, but yeah, cameras on will be great. You can pop any questions you have in the chat, and if you want to, you can also change your Zoom name. So I could change my name now to say that I'm the host of the session, the age that you work with, which is 0 to 3. So you can do that by clicking on the 3 dots and you can click rename. And I'm going to just do that now and write host and 0 to 3. But you can just put in the ages that you work with, or the ages of your children if we have some parents and carers with us as well. One thing to note when we go into the breakout rooms is sometimes you get disconnected. So just take a note of the breakout room that you join, and then we'll be able to put you back in. I think that that's everything on the housekeeping front. So now I would love to introduce you to our beautiful guide. I'm excited. If you don't know Hannah Bainham, she has worked in Montessori education in so many different roles and in so many different places. And she's joining us today from just newly arrived. So she's a little, settling into her new role in Malta. So maybe you can share a little bit about that too, Hannah. But she's been involved in projects like in India, where she helped turn a traditional kindergarten for Tibetan refugees into a Montessori school. In Hong Kong, she helped to open a new early years Montessori setting, as well as giving workshops for parents and professional development, seminars for other teachers. In Istanbul, Turkey, she opened the first Montessori parent cooperative in Turkey and created and led workshops for women working in low-income neighborhood creches. She's addressed the UNICEF Assembly in Ankara to discuss how the Montessori method could benefit education in developing countries. And in 2016, her first book called Following the Child was published in Turkish. So she we're very honored to have you here. We're in good hands. And Hannah, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm glad to be here for our third session. I am going to share my screen because, as always, I have some photos I'd like to share as props for my discussion today. I'm going to, present. There we go. Thank you. Lovely. So this is a topic that's very close to my heart. I have spent my whole summer working on my master's dissertation in higher education, where I have been reflecting on the role of the adult. I had the pleasure of leading this session, facilitating this session during our Montessori Everywhere's panel for the 150th birthday. It was a beautiful discussion, and I hope you all had a chance to listen to the discussion. I was really inspired by the discussion, and it really helped formulate my ideas for my dissertation. And I can tell you now that I am not the same person that I was a year ago then that I am now today. And that's because of that spiritual preparation of the adult. So first, I have some lovely photos today that I would like to thank Montessori Facebook group for all of their photos, their hard work. Again, they do a lot of digging into the Montessori world, and we've got some beautiful photos to share with you today from that. When thinking about the spiritual preparation of the teacher, this quote was very important to me in my understanding of that preparation of the teacher being so important in our method. It's more important than the material. The main task is not to learn the method, but to open a new and better way for the child. So what is this spiritual preparation of the adult? Like I said, I've spent the summer thinking and writing about this spiritual preparation. And in a few weeks' time, I will be joining a classroom again for my first time in 4 years to be with children. And I'm thinking about that spiritual preparation of the adult in my role with children as well. When we think about this spiritual preparation, we realize that it's a process that is ongoing. It never ends. We are stuck with it for life. We have to do the work for life. Like I said, the person I was last year when I was facilitating this panel is very different than the person I am today. And that's because this process, this learning, this unfolding is continuous. The spiritual preparation is dependent on others. It's dependent on the feedback of the community and the children that we work with, not on, that we can learn from them. And we need that feedback. We need to come in communion with other people. We need to really experience and understand and be in dialogue with each other to be able to really understand what spiritual preparation means and what that spiritual journey is for ourselves. Spiritual preparation is painful. It can be painful, and it requires work. It requires a lot of work, more work than I was expecting when I got into teaching. I must admit, I was one of those teachers who did it for the holidays. And little did I know that the holidays are the preparation time for, for the work with children, that spiritual preparation.
Sorry, Hannah, I accidentally muted you when I was trying to clear up the background noise. Can you unmute? I love music.
No worries. That spiritual preparation is part of our cosmic task. So when Montessori talked about this idea of cosmic education, the interconnectedness of everything, our cosmic task is that individual's journey, that individual's response to the world around them, the contribution that they will play. So for me, when I'm thinking about cosmic task as a Montessori guide, as a Montessori teacher, it's all about this spiritual preparation. It is my job, it is my duty, it is my calling to continuously do the work, to continuously think, who am I and who am I going to be with children and who I'm going to be with the environment. When we think about the adult in the environment, I've seen a lot of beautiful environments on Facebook. Everyone is setting up their classrooms and it's all very exciting. I remember that feeling. I love setting up that physical environment. We are custodians of that environment as the adults, but we need to make sure that environment is culturally responsive, and that the environments are alive. They're not stagnant. The environment should not look the same every year because the children in your classroom are different. The environment is alive and evolves, and we need to really consider that when we're thinking about the adult's role in that preparation of the environment. For me, the most important environment is the spiritual environment that we create. It's that spiritual preparation that is linked to that spiritual environment. The physical environment, you could be in an empty room with no Montessori materials in it, and you could still have that spiritual culture, that spiritual environment, which is rich and meaningful and offers growth for the children we work with. And last, these lovely pictures of the adult and the child. And I've talked about this in previous workshops, that idea of being worthy. We need to be worthy. We need to do the work. We need to be prepared to work with children because we need to be worthy of their admiration. We need to be worthy of their love, of their trust. We need to be ready. And that doesn't mean that we know all of the materials perfectly and we know all of the presentations. We need to be ready in our heart. We need to be ready to serve, to listen, to observe, and to do what's best for each individual child in that environment. We need to learn with them and from them. And most important, we need to be present. We need to be present and we need to love. And that presence is the biggest gift that we can give to children. Childhood happens very quickly. It happens like that. All those parents out there will know it happens very quickly and it's done. The best gift as an adult that we can give to children is to be present. So they feel that we're present and they feel our love. I have done a lot of reading this summer and Dr. Philip Snow Gang has a new book out, which is called Educating for Right Action and Love, Extending and Expanding the Montessori Vision. It is a beautiful book with lots of wonderful anecdotes and reflections on exactly what I'm talking about, that spiritual preparation, that link to cosmic education and our cosmic task. In that book, he quotes a letter he received in 1982 from Ada Montessori, who is Montessori Sr.'s second wife. And this was after Mario Montessori had died. She wrote to him saying, "I feel that Mario had the real gifts for pointing out the essence, and I'm afraid people may lose themselves in the details." This is my challenge for you. I feel as Montessorians, we are fixated on the details. We are fixated on whether things are left to right, are small, are large, the order, the materials, the presentations. We are fixated on those details. We are fixated on what is authentic Montessori. We're fixated on what is the right or the wrong training to go to. We are fixated on the details, but we need to remember the essence. And that essence lies in the child, that essence lies in the preparation of the adult, and that essence lies in that spiritual environment that we create for the child. So are you going to be a teacher that fixates on the details, or are you going to remember about the essence and really hold on to that essence? Great, we're ready for our breakout sessions, and we've got some lovely questions for our breakout sessions today. Our first question is, what do we mean by the prepared adult? What role do our biases play in the spiritual preparation of the adult? And how can we create learning spaces for adults that celebrate the diversity of the world? I'm going to be popping into your breakout sessions to listen to some of the conversations that you are having. And I look forward to us reporting back all together and to hear what you have said. Thank you. Over to Simone for breakouts.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Hannah. I am so inspired. I feel like I'm just warming up again after summer, and now that's really given us time to focus on what we're going to do. I think it would be nice actually to go into 2 breakout rooms, because then we'll get a richer conversation going. So I'm going to split you into 2. Please accept the invitation if it pops up on your screen, and have fun. It's going to be for 40 minutes, so you've got lots of time to get into it. I've dropped the questions into the chat, but let me know if you have any questions or have any troubles getting them. So you should go into the rooms right now. Remember to keep your cameras on in the rooms and unmute yourselves and have fun. So everyone, welcome back from the breakout rooms. And I am just going to play some music, and we're going to take 2 minutes to just reflect on our beautiful conversations. And you can drop in the chat any of your takeaways, and then we'll actually get some people to unmute themselves and share as well. So I'll just hit play. thank you, everyone. That is really beautiful to see that you had some amazing reflections and things in the chat. Hannah said that it was an honor, blessing to be in community and hear such lovely expressions of the role of the adult. Thank you, I learned a lot. Regina shared that she was inspired by the shared values and vision, hopeful for the future. Thank you to this truly beautiful global community. And Maria, what an amazing session by Hannah and reflections in the breakout room. My favorite one was error is our biggest friend if we were open enough to admit it. And Anna, I don't think the role of the adult within the community of adults gets enough exploration typically. So Montessorians spend so much time considering how they apply this approach with the children, but the key to our connection and ongoing fulfillment in our work often lies in how we apply this approach within the adult community. Too true, Anna. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. So now I'm going to call on a couple of our facilitators to give some feedback from the sessions, and then we probably have time actually for anyone who also wants to contribute. So Prue, can I call on you to talk from your room first? Oh, you're unmuted.
Oh, can you hear me now, everyone? Yes. We had such an awesome time to speak and reflect on these three topics. It kind of like took us back to who we should really be as the adults, you know, beginning from the first question that asked about what the spiritual, we mean by the prepared adults, you know, asking questions like, am I worthy to serve the child? And that every child, regarding every child as your own child. And also to remove the confusion about religion and spirituality, knowing that these are interconnected and not misinterpreted. You know, speaking about the spirituality, not referring to religion. And that's for an adult, really getting yourself prepared before you set out to help a child. It's key. You know, I was in a room with some awesome Montessorian homeschoolers and parents, like Semina was in my room, Hannah was in my room, Rebecca, Regina, Atia, DK. It was such a glorious time of reflection. Everyone with their perspective, bringing everything together as Montessorian kind of challenges you to where you're coming from. What the role of our biases, what the role our biases play in the spiritual preparation. We spoke about biases not being genetic, not being genetic as Maria Montessori puts it, but biases are absorbed. So as adults, we need to be vulnerable. We need to allow the children to be who they are. We need to let them make their own opinion, like form their own opinions and not enforce what we already know or what we believe to be what they should believe as well. And how profound that we find that biases, the word bias is a contemporary word, but Maria Montessori already made provisions for that, even in those years before some of us were born. It's quite profound. We also reflected on how our day-to-day application of the Montessori method speaks to how our biases could be cultural, how they could be as a result of our upbringing and the environments, our experiences, and then to question ourselves all the time and to neutralize the thoughts that we have to be ourselves and also let the children that we work with be themselves. We spoke about language, music, and dresses, diversity in the adults. Speaking about question 3 now. And Regina told us a beautiful story of how they played the Mama Hill Montessori video in their school and had the children ask questions with the diversity of culture, the colors of their skin, of even their guides. And, it was so profound how children can actually bring peace naturally without having to struggle. Like a lot of what is going on in the world today, we also spoke about how if they were handed over to children, it will be peace without even struggling. They would sort it out naturally, and there will be no issues the way leaders are finding it difficult to quell the fire today. So it just brings us to how, as an adult, our place of spiritual preparation is to open up and allow who we are to reflect, not to allow who we are to impose or reflect on the children so much, but to allow the children blossom naturally and form their own personality by presenting the various opportunities for them to blossom beautifully. I don't know, maybe someone else in my group want to say something else, but I think that's the bits that I was able to put together. Yes.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I can see why you're all touched by that conversation. Because when you say, am I worthy to serve the child? That sums up exactly what Hannah was talking about. It talks about the inward work that we need to do, the bias work that we need to get rid of, and also that you spoke about how we can let the child be themselves. It's so hard. I mean, I remember when my son was so small and you have ideas what you want them to be and to have to let that go. That's our work with all the children we work with or our own children. So thank you very much. Does anyone from Pru's group want to add anything to that before we move on to the other group? We've got time, so feel free to unmute yourself if there's something else that touched you.
I think Pru did a beautiful job putting it all together. Thank you, Pru.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to everyone else. And Barbara from the other breakout room, would you like to share your beautiful conversation with us?
We had really vibrant, rich conversation. I will not be able to express it in such beautiful way as Prudence did, and I so enjoyed listening to your summary. Thank you, Pru. I think for us, for the first question, what do we understand by the prepared adult? We were very much inspired by Hannah's presentation, and our group talked about the importance of being present, being there for the child in the moment, to be really able to serve the child effectively, and how important it is to be humble, to follow the child, and in a way let the child lead the learning. When we came to explore our own biases, I had such really honest contributions to the discussion, and the role of the adult or role of the parent in overcoming one's biases, overcoming one's expectations of one's own children, being so much harder perhaps than being a Montessori teacher. You can be more objective in a classroom of children. It's really, really difficult to be objective and not to place your expectations on your children. We also talked about the pressure that sometimes others place on us, and then magnify the biases that we may have, or magnify the expectations we may have. And learning about our own biases is probably, or admitting them is probably the biggest task that we all have, because sometimes the biases just come up quite unexpectedly. You suddenly think to yourself, why have I said that? Or why am I feeling like this? So being in the moment for oneself is also very important. We explored a little bit the role of colleagues in helping us to see our own biases too, and the support of having honest and trusting colleagues with whom we can work. And we were also reminded about the importance of Montessori for Social Justice, which operates in the United States, which gives us opportunities and tools for embracing some of these difficult conversations that we sometimes need to have with our colleagues, with our parents, and with ourselves also. I loved Ajayi's closure when she reflected on her role in working with parents and helping them to understand that the children of today are not the same children that they were, and how important it is to see the child of today for who they are. It was a very powerful reminder in a way of the need for diversity is even within families, not just within communities, but within families in which we are. That was our contribution. Thank you.
I love that. And I love that you even got into like the difficult conversation with other adults, because that can be some of the hardest work, right? It's like we all of a sudden are really inspired by Montessori, and then we want other people to be on board, or how we get our adult community on board with, so that they're doing the Montessori work at home as well. That's really, really beautiful. How are you all feeling? Does anyone else want to add anything? Mary, would you like to add anything?
I just would want to thank everyone. It's just been a wonderful, like, what have we spent an hour plus together, and so much wisdom shared. Thank you all.
Oh, thank you. I think, I don't know about a lot of you, I've been offline for a lot of 2 months, and then just to reconnect with everyone, it like warms my heart again. It gets me excited to be back in the classroom and working with everyone. So Hannah, I'll hand over to you for some closing reflections, and we won't keep you folks much longer.
Great. I will keep this short. Short and sweet. This is a picture from my walk this morning. I am lucky to be living on an island very close to the sea, and the sea has been very healing for me. So I would like to end with a visualization, something that I try and do on all of these workshops. So if you'd like to look at this picture of the ocean, or if you'd like to close your eyes, I'll leave it up to you. I want us to think about what it means to be a Montessori adult. What is the essence of Montessori, and what kind of adults do you want to be? Either with your children, or your work in the classroom, or your grandchildren. What do you need, and what will you do as part of your journey, as part of your spiritual preparation? Coming to things like this is an example of moving forward, learning from others, and communicating, and being spiritually prepared for our work with children. How do we learn from our mistakes? How do we ensure children don't absorb our biases? How can I be present? How can I show my love for children and also my colleagues and the adults I work with? How can I create a community around me that will hold me accountable, that will question me, and that will have those difficult conversations? How do I continue to grow if I'm open enough to accept, to allow, and to see that growth? I want to thank you all for being here today. It was lovely to be in communion with you, to have these conversations, and to think about this spirituality, this spiritual preparation of the adult. We talked in one of the groups that idea of the difference between spirituality and religion is that spirituality is something higher than religion. And it's work and it's a personal journey. Whereas religion is prescriptive, spirituality is something internal and something we do within. Being here today has just been as beautiful as this sea. I've learned so much. There's been opportunities to share. I've been refreshed and renewed, and I'm able to continue on my weekends. And I'm very excited to start working with children again and to start thinking about what adult I will be in that environment. Thank you so much for being here and sharing with me and sharing with all of us. Again, it was lovely to see you all. And I look forward to seeing you for the last Montessori Everywhere in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, everyone. You've warmed our hearts so much today, Hannah. And I have to get those questions off you and send them with the recording, because I think we should have them on our walls. You know, this is such important work. I got 2 of them down, but you know, every question I was like, oh, I want to sit and meditate on that. Oh, I want to sit and meditate on that as well. So beautiful. So Barbara's sharing that as well. Thank you, Hannah, for sharing your wisdom and experiences with us. And so grateful from Rafina. Is there anyone else who I didn't call on who would like to take a moment to say anything from their conversation, anything that you'd like to work on or ask before we close? I'll just have one moment of silence to see if anyone wants to unmute themselves or raise their hand. Atia says touched. Samina, thank you so much. Haytal, thank you, Hannah. It was so beautiful, so grateful for this time, deeply touched and motivated. All right. Well, I want to thank our beautiful guide, Hannah. I want to thank the facilitators who guided you today in your conversations, to our lovely Montessori Everywhere team. So thank you, Barbara and Haytel in room 1, and we had Prue and Samina in room 2, and Regina is also a sometimes host and things. So, and if I missed anyone, my apologies. Our next session, as Hannah mentioned, is in November. It's the Saturday, the 20th of November. So mark it already in your calendars, and we will email you a couple of weeks before so you can sign up for that. We're going to be talking about community. And so when we were planning the Montessori Everywhere event, we were talking about the triad, which is the adult, the child, and the environment. And then we thought there's something missing here, and it's the bit that connects it all. And we came up with our own part of the triad, which is the community that goes amongst it. So we can't wait to be in conversation with you about that. And if you like this community, then you should join us as well for the Earth Project. I'm going to drop the link for that into the post here, into the chat. So the Earth Project is running from September to November, a 3-month project where we're connecting Montessori children around the world. So it can be a family, you can be a school, and we have already started, but you will be sent the recordings from the calls so that you know what to get on with, and the work for September, and it's not too late to join. So if you're interested, check that out as well. And Haytal has a raised hand. How can we help, Haytal?
I just wanted to say thank you to you for hosting and being the tech person over here.
You're welcome. I did not do the tech quite as smoothly as our wonderful Wendelin, but I think I only cut off one person, and I think the rest of us, you know, we didn't hurt too much, right? When I accidentally muted you, Hannah, sorry about that. Thank you. So keep in touch, everyone. It was so lovely to connect with you all, and we'll see you all again in November. You're welcome to unmute yourself to say goodbye.
Thank you. Just wanted to say these sessions are truly cathartic, and they really remind us that how much more we have to learn. So thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, Samina, for being up late. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.